Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to the Friday night exposure with the Exposer. I'm your host, Ajani the Exposer. This is the GOAT James Kingdom channel. We are going live straight off of the channel. We are also live on our Facebook group, which is the GOAT James Kingdom Facebook group. Thank you for joining me again on another great Friday evening as we have another great show for you and another great topic for you guys. As you guys know, the Boston Celtics are the NBA champions, and it is a sad day for us Heat fans and most of the NBA because no one wants to see the Boston Celtics celebrate. And on top of that, them being all brass and arrogant and talking about my Miami Heat and how they came down here just several hours after winning the damn championship. But we all know after the NBA season, there's always some talk. There's always the Zesty Jeffries and the Kobe Mama Knights trying to create narratives because obviously with no Pip, no Chip, no King, no ring, they are going crazy right now as we have so much to talk about. But they are telling us that the conferences are weak. That's why Boston's a champion. So we're going to talk about what conference is weak. Shout out to you, New World. Peace to you. What up, Ishmael? Thank you for joining me, y'all. Again, this is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. I'm your host, Ajani the Exposer. I am here to have fun with you this evening, and we're going to have some fun talking about which conference is actually the better conference. Now, you know, when we talk about conferences, they love to talk about it in the sense of actual winning. Team records. That is the main thing when it comes to these Zesty Jeffries and these basketball fans and these casuals. Well, if we look in NBA history at the teams who won 65 games or more in an NBA season, we can see only 21 teams have ever done that. Out of those 21 teams, 15 have won a championship. So that means about 75% of these teams are considered champions once you reach this mark. If you go down to 64 wins, which is what the Boston Celtics had, 64 wins this year, it drops down to about 33 or 34%. Now that Boston has won it, it's about around 33 to 35%. So that is the difference right there between actually winning a championship and losing a championship is one game. So you can see here all the 65 win teams. We don't want to even count the 60s because we know the 60s was an anomaly. We know there was only one great team throughout the 60s, that was the Boston Celtics. But if we look through the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, they didn't produce that many 65 win teams plus. And majority of the ones that they did produce were in the Eastern Conference. And if we go to the 2000s and the 2010s, we see the most 65 win teams in NBA history, which most of them are from the actual Western Conference, and we're going to break down these championship teams. So thank you for joining me again on this great Friday night as I am here to give you guys what I do best, expose all the Zesty Jeffries, expose all the casuals and all the people who don't know how to talk basketball, and let everybody know that GOAT James Kingdom is the place to talk basketball because this is what we do best. We talk about the GOAT of the basketball, which is LeBron James, and we talk about the greatest players and how great the game is. So thank you for joining me as we will have another great Friday evening with me, your boy, the Exposer. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to give y'all the best that I can give y'all. All right? Pause. So we all know that it's been a bad week for the LeBron haters, right? It's been a really bad week. Boston winning an NBA championship got a lot of feathers ruffled up. A lot of people are upset about it, including myself, because again, I do not like the Boston Celtics winning a championship. But shout out to them because they did win a championship and they are champions, right? But now we have to deal with this idea of how do we measure how great Boston is, right? I already see now they're comparing them to the '08 Boston team. They're asking if they can beat the 2017 Warriors team. Is this Boston team a super team or not? There's so much confusion. Zesty Jeffries don't know what to do with themselves. But let's really break down this idea of champions, right? So, you know, because we have a lot of people out here that just like to talk just to talk. They don't take their time to do research. They don't take their time to read. They don't take their time to actually listen. They just quick to react. They want to respond instantaneously. They don't have nothing better to do with themselves. Shout out to you, Rex. What's good? Rex says here, the problem with the late 80s and 90s is a rapid expansion. It's not just increasing rosters. It's new coaches, new GMs, new owners, all learning on the fly. Yes, indeed, that is also true. A perspective that a lot of people don't really bring up when you talk about adding new GMs, adding new personnel as far as coaching and team execs and how franchises are ran, right? You see what I'm saying? Depending on where the new franchise is put at, right? You had teams going to Minnesota, teams coming to Miami, you had teams going to Vancouver and Toronto, right? And all of these things have different factors depending on what state they're in. So that's a great take by you. We appreciate that. So, but we all know that they like to talk about the conferences and supposedly Boston had it weak, right? But let's take a true look at the last 50-something years of basketball and see who really has the weaker conference. If we look in the 70s, right, there were 8 different teams that won a championship in the 70s, which is why I always tell people the 70s was actually one of the tougher eras when it comes to winning, because every year basically somebody was winning a championship. They didn't have no repeat champions in the 70s, and only the Knicks and the Boston Celtics were able to win multiple championships in the actual 70s. We already know the 60s we can't compare. It was just Boston, right? But then if we go to the 80s, which is the glorified 80s, only 4 NBA teams won a championship. And out of those 4 NBA teams, 3 came from the East, 1 came from the West. Basically, the Lakers ran the West. The West was the weakest conference ever in the 80s. If we really want to talk about a weak conference, it was the 80s Western Conference teams. They were horrible. The Lakers ran that entire decade, and I think the Lakers went to 8 of the 10 finals in the 80s, if I'm correct. If not 9 of them. It was 8 of them. So that's the 80s. Then we go to the 90s. Nothing really changed in the 90s. Only 4 teams win a championship in the 90s. 2 from the East and 2 from the West. Then once we get into the 2000s, we start seeing an increase in influx of teams winning. We had 5 teams winning a championship in the 2000s. 3 from the East and 2 from the West. Obviously, we know the 2 from the West was the Los Angeles Lakers and the Spurs, which a lot of people like to say the Western Conference was tougher in the 2000s, but it seems like the only team that could win in that whole conference was the Lakers or the Spurs. How tough is it if only 2 teams could win it? Then if we take it to the 2010s, which I love to call the super team era, for some reason there must have been a lot of super teams in the 2010s, because 7 different NBA teams won a championship in the 2010s. Almost close to the 70s. 4 in the West, 3 in the East. Right? And you guys want to know, what are the teams? You got the Lakers winning. You got the Mavs winning. Right? You got the Spurs winning. You have the Warriors winning. You have the Heat winning. You have the Cavaliers winning. And then you have Toronto Raptors winning. That's 7 different teams, and supposedly the super team era that won a championship, but supposedly the toughest era, the hardest era, only 2 or 3 teams could win championships. 4 teams could win championships for almost a whole decade. In fact, if we take the teams that made the NBA Finals between 1999 and 2019, only 5 teams in the Western Conference made the NBA Finals during that span, while 9 teams in the East during that same span made the NBA Finals. So in the last 20-some years, the East has actually had more teams make the finals than the West, and they've actually won championships as well on top of that. And then if we go to this decade, the 2020s, right, you basically have 5 different teams winning a championship. So basically, in the last 15 NBA seasons, you've had an accumulation of, I think, about 13 NBA teams winning a championship. I'm sorry, not 13, about 11 NBA teams winning a championship. So now you ask, what is my point, Mr. Irving? Well, Mr. Julius Irving, my point is that you guys don't do your research. You just talk to talk. You don't say anything of any that has any concrete evidence, anything tangible that we can go back and look at, like I'm doing for you right here, right now. I'm giving you the history of the NBA. How many teams won championships? From which conferences? You can't say that the East is weak when the Boston Celtics ran throughout the whole NBA this year. They were the tougher team. They were the harder team to have to get through. Nobody in the West beat them neither. So it's not like the West was better. What are you basing it off of? He said, look, that don't make the East stronger, bro. Of course it don't make it stronger because you don't understand basketball. You don't understand competition. You don't understand dominance. You can't tell me two teams dominated a whole decade and that makes that conference tough. And like I said, when I brought up the idea of the 65 win teams, because you guys love to talk about winning percentages and teams that win. When we look at the teams that win over 65 games in NBA history, 15 of them have won championships out of 21. So the likelihood of you winning a championship after being a 65 win team plus is through the roof. Only in the 2000s did those teams lose. If you look in the 1900s, all the teams that had won 65 games plus won an NBA championship. But once you get to the 2000s, because it is a tougher era, it wasn't that easy to win a championship. You have the Mavs who didn't win the championships in 07. They won 67 games. You had the Cavaliers won 66 games in 09. Didn't win a championship. You had the Spurs of 2016, 67 games. They didn't win a championship. The Rockets of 2018, 65 games. They didn't win a championship. Because it is tougher in these eras because there's so many good teams. But you guys don't understand that. You guys don't understand the game of basketball. The 96 Bulls went 18-1 against expansion teams. Of course they did. Of course they did. Who was going to beat that Chicago Bulls team? They were a super team. But that's the point. This is what we have to deal with when we talk about the game of basketball. And how you guys don't understand what you're looking at. And then you want us to sit and have a conversation with you. So when I put the link up for you, don't go running and hiding in the comments. Come up here and explain to me that I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm showing to y'all how there is really no difference in these conferences and how many titles come out of each individual conference. Because from what you can see here, the West doesn't win more championships than the East. And you want to praise the West for winning against each other. They play against each other. They're not playing against the East all year round. They play 2 games versus East and Western Conference team. You play majority of your regular season games versus each other in the Western Conference. It's not even the same competition. Shout out to you, King Money Fly. Thank you for joining me again. It is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. Y'all know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member of the channel as we will continue to do big things here in GOAT James Kingdom. We are also live on Instagram. Shout out to everybody who's following us on Instagram. We're taking off there as well. Shout out to everybody on Facebook that is a part of the group. And watching the show right now. Again, it is the Friday Night Exposure. I'm Ajani, one half of the GOAT James Kingdom platform. I am the Exposer. What I do best is expose Zesty Jeffries and people who don't know how to talk the game of basketball. So let me get New World up here first. Peace, New World. What's good with you, brother?
Hey, what's good, brother?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much, man. I got the Zesty Jeffries started. Wait till Sunday. Sunday's going to even be worse for them.
Oh yeah, Sunday's gonna be off the chain.
Oh, Sunday's gonna be crazy. But what's good, man? So what you got for me, man? So what do you think about Boston winning the championship and obviously, you know, the where they rank in the annals of history? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm disgusted with Boston just as a Lakers fan, but congratulations to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
They got the championship. Jaylen Brown got that Finals MVP, so much respect. But as far as Boston as a franchise, that's one of the most historical franchises in the history of the game. I mean, they had the likes of Bill Russell and Larry Bird up in that uniform. So, you could just tell that, from an aura perspective. I know I shouldn't be talking about aura in a basketball discussion, but like Boston is it. Like they got like a huge fan base. You saw the parade. Like people love the shit out of Boston. I'm all the way over here in the West Coast, and I got Boston fans over here shouting "Hip Hip Hooray" and all this other nonsense. I'm just sitting here like, oh, I gotta listen to this, but it is what it is. Like Boston fans are everywhere, man.
Boston fans are the worst, man. Gosh, I hate the fact that, and then the fact that they said that they came celebrating in Miami, like they couldn't stay in Boston and celebrate, like there was nothing to do in Boston. You had to come down
that
here.
was nasty work.
You had to come down to Miami and be like, yo, let me come hang out with y'all down here and y'all fine women, you damn suckers. I can't stand y'all, man. Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, they was off the
That.
chain with that. When I read the social media post,
Mm-hmm.
they said that when Jason Tatum was all talking about how it was always easy to go down to Miami. I'm like, oh man,
Did he?
I guess it
And
must
then
be
yeah.
harder going to Cleveland than I guess.
Oh my god. Yeah. And then he had to say that too, right? Don't worry. Wait till Jimmy signed that extension, and then we'll see how much y'all talking then. So I'll put the
Hmm.
link up for anybody who wants to join, man. So let me get your words on this because there are a few people in the background. What do you
Yeah.
think about all of this talk about the weaker conference and all this? You know, obviously it's been a narrative for a long time. As you see, I pull up numbers. I don't just talk it. I actually show people what I'm talking about. What do you
Hmm.
think of this idea of weaker conferences? Do you think weaker conferences actually exist?
No, I mean it's a stupid argument that Jordan fans like to use to discredit LeBron's his 8 finals run in a row. Like they like that was because people were talking about that as like one of the greatest accomplishments in sports to be able to consecutively go to 8 finals. You know that's extremely hard to do. And
Mm-hmm.
when people were saying that, it was starting to shine a light on LeBron that he's doing something that Michael Jordan was never capable of doing. So, they're going to try to diminish that. My thing was with this argument that I've actually tried to do the same thing that you've done, Johnny, like by saying, well, when you look at the total number of champions coming out of each conference, it really isn't so one sided to where you can say that one conference is like objectively weaker. So like, but they don't like to like. This is why I don't like to argue like on social media and the comments and stuff. It's better if we can do it in person because
Mm-hmm.
when people start just trolling in the comments, that's when they're not trying to absorb new information. It's like what's been going on with the stat inflation that's been getting exposed. But we can talk about that on Sunday.
Oh, we definitely gonna talk about that Sunday. It is going to be on Sunday. So let some other folks in, man. I'll let you back up if you get a chance at the
Yep.
end of the show. I want to get my one-on-ones. You know how it is, man. Appreciate you. Y'all know who New
Yes,
World
sir.
is, man. All right, let me let Craig up right quick. Craig, what's good, Craig?
Yo, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What up, Craig? What's good, man?
Oh, you
It's good to see you,
Boston
man.
in
Hey,
4. They just want to win at home.
they just want to. You did say that. You did say that they were gonna sweep. Anyway, by the way, brother, happy Father's Day. I haven't seen you since
Oh
then.
yeah, happy
But
Father's Day.
yeah, man, Boston won it, man. It's so disgusting. And then they're just so happy and cocky right now, man. It's just and people hate Boston. So, but
It's
it's funny.
funny, and the thing about
Uh-huh.
the conference is funny how they laugh that they beat a 6 seed to make the finals, but don't not realize the fact they beat a 6 seed to win the finals. So which conference is really weaker?
Right? Dallas, right? Dallas was what the fifth seed there. So yeah, you're right. So that makes it. But no, but Boston beat what? Boston beat the Heat, which were the eighth seed. Then they faced who they faced after that?
They played the
Cleveland,
Cleveland.
right?
They played Cleveland in the second round.
Cleveland was the fourth seed, no?
Cleveland was the 4th seed.
All right, and then they played after that. They played against Indiana, which I think the Indiana was the sixth seed, like you were saying. Yeah, so Indiana. All right, so I see that. Yeah, I mean, but again, the East was kind of tighter than most people think. Like I said, they're going off of records. Records really don't really matter, man. At the end of the day, a lot of those teams could have won it, man. But we just got to give Boston that credit. They had an injured star player the whole playoffs, and nobody wants to say that they still won without
They
him.
got 3 players average 20 for the season.
Exactly. And one of them was hurt. The whole playoffs. Although he was able to play during the finals, Porzingis was available. But like I said, this idea that we can't just like we just have to find a way to say, okay, this is not great enough. Like we really have to put a grading scale on greatness by knocking things, you know what I'm saying, by knocking it, not by actually just saying, okay, what is considered great. Boston won 64 games. That is tough to get. They were just the better team. And when you look at the overall what they were able to do as far as their net rating for the playoffs and stuff like that, like they're one of the top 10 teams in the playoffs in NBA history.
Well, they're one of the few teams that any player can go down and they can pick off like they was never there. They could play without having to play with. You could tell like could play without having a star player in the game. They
Facts.
have schemes and stuff for each player if they're in the game or not.
Exactly, exactly. So I mean, they they're gonna get the hate on it. So, but so like you said, you respect the conference and their travel because I don't know. Indiana was a tough match. I know they lost Halliburton for 2 games. I know Jimmy was gone for the whole series versus Miami, but I don't. I think Miami was the only team that would have really beat Boston if anybody was beating Boston. To be honest with
No, I would say New York if what you
you,
call it, the Anobi and what's his face was there.
Jalen Brunson.
No, damn, I see. I don't pay attention to the next. What's the dude that broke his shoulder?
Oh, Julius Randle.
Yeah, Randall.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, they would have
That's
really
that's a
been good
20
too.
and that's a 20-9 guy that they didn't have. Anobi, his defense.
Yeah,
He
that,
could have been
that
the first team all defense if he played the whole season.
that's true too. Dang. And then now they're gonna resign everybody. Supposedly, what I heard, they're resigning White. They're gonna resign Brown. I mean, Jason Tatum. So they're just gonna be loaded again next year. They're just gonna be one of the best teams, and they're gonna be hard to deal with, man.
It's all depending on what the Knicks and what the Sixers do, because the Sixers got almost what they said about almost 60 million in cap space.
Yeah,
That means they could sign a player and keep everybody.
that's why they're going after Jimmy. That's why they want Jimmy. But to get
They
Jimmy,
said
you're gonna
Jimmy.
have
They
to
said
trade.
Paul George.
Yeah, but
They
they're gonna
got
have
Paul
to make.
George linked to Philly.
They're gonna have to make that trade. So, but let me get some other folks in because I got some folks standing back, man. You got any last words? You ready for Sunday? Because you're gonna need to be on your A game on Sunday. You was on your A game last time.
I already know about the video. I seen it all.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
I'm just gonna say, he wasn't the only one they was doing that for.
Facts. All right, bro. Yo, you enjoy your Friday night. If you want to come back up, I'll let you back up shortly, man. Appreciate
I'm
you,
gonna
man.
just sit back and chill because eating
I
right
got
now.
you. All right, bro. Appreciate you. Good seeing you, Craig. Yeah, man. Let me let up somebody new here. What up, Drew? Thank you for joining me. This is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. What you got on this idea of Boston Celtics and their placement in history?
Well, first of all, I do think the conference is like the strongest conference and the weakest conference. I
Mm-hmm.
think it changed. I mean, I don't think it stayed the same like throughout history. I just think one decade the West might have the tougher competition. The next decade the East might have the tougher competition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
Oh,
I think in the '80s,
uh-huh.
I think the East was tougher. I think the West was weaker.
Oh, the
You
West
had,
was
like you said, like you
the
mentioned,
West was completely weak. I mean, we can't think of no other team outside of Houston and the Lakers. When
right?
you think about when you really think about it, like not the Kings, not I mean like what teams in the West were nothing. I mean you had the Trailblazers going in the late '80s, but yeah, still it was really like nothing. Oh, you know what? It was 3 teams in the West. Now I forgot in '89. The Blazers made it, so they would have been the last team out of the West to do
And
it.
you had
So
the
three
Rockets
teams.
made it what in '85 or '87? No, '86. The
Yeah,
Rockets.
'86, and they made it, I believe, in '82 as well. I believe they
Yeah,
were the ones
but
that beat the Lakers in '82. So I think they made
yeah,
it two. They made it in two. Well, I could be true. Rex, let me know if you're still there. Rex would know. Rex is the true historian here. Shout out to you. But I mean, again, the idea of it being weak is based on what the conference teams' records.
it's based on like you had the Lakers, which was a super team, a dominant team,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty much it in the Western Conference. But
Yeah.
as far as like a teams who really was who was really championship contenders, in the East you had about 4 or 5 teams who was legit championship contenders. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And from top to bottom, the East was just stronger in the '80s. The West was kind of weak. That's why you had the Lakers in the finals every year down there, or like
Yeah.
9 times, 8 or 9
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. They went. Okay. Yeah. No. They went 80. They went 80, 82, 83, 84, 85, 87, 88, and 89.
Right. But the '90s,
Oh yeah, so my bad.
it
So
was
I
more
was right.
even.
So it was only 2 teams. My bad. The
Yeah,
Trailblazers made it in 1990. That was their first NBA final. So it wasn't even in '89. So you're right. So there, it was just basically it was Moses Malone's Rockets and Akeem's Rockets, and that was it.
Yeah.
So
Then the
all those other
nineties,
teams sucked.
the nineties, I think it was pretty much more evenly balanced, and with the East and the West.
I
I
don't know because I mean the '90s was a weird era because of the expansion teams being added. Because what ended up happening was you had teams like Orlando, Miami, and then teams like Golden State started coming back around and Sacramento and so you had certain and like but teams like the Lakers and Boston and Detroit started floundering. Like you understand what I'm trying to say? Like all the good teams of the '80s started floundering. Like Atlanta started floundering. Like the only teams that were good from the '80s into the '90s were like the Knicks, the Bulls, the Blazers,
Blazers,
Utah. Yeah,
Indiana
you see what
was
I'm saying?
good.
In the '80s.
No, not the eight. I'm talking about the nine.
Yeah, in the I'm talking about the
Nineties.
teams though coming in from the '80s into the
Oh,
'90s.
right,
You see
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? So there was a lot of garbage teams in the '90s as well. There's a graph that I had made a couple of years ago that showed all the teams that couldn't win 15 games in a season, and a lot of them came from the '90s because it was just a bad era. It just had a lot of bad teams, but they also had a lot of great teams like the Bulls, like the Rockets. You see what I'm saying? So
I'm talking about with the expansion teams. It was made the bottom
yeah,
of the league kind of
yeah,
weak.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like you had teams like the Grizzlies for like the first 2 years. The Grizzlies couldn't even win. Like I think they won like 16 games and then like 14 games the first two seasons that they played. They were really horrible. And like Boston had one of the worst records in NBA history. Like in '97, the '97 East was horrible. They had a lot of good teams that won 60 games, but they had a lot of bad teams that couldn't even win 20 games. And then you see what I'm
No,
saying? So
that's
it
true.
was yeah, you see what I'm saying? So it was kind of like a weird scenario with the East and the West. The whole team record thing to me goes out the door because they play against each other. It's the East versus the East and the West versus the West. They barely play against the other conference. So when you're talking about 14 teams in the East, like in the '90s, you're talking about only 28 of your 82 games are against Eastern Conference teams. So you're basically playing 50 something games against the West.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Against 13, 14 teams. So you're playing you're playing a lot more against each other. So it's probably a better way to determine who's the better team because y'all playing each other all the time within conferences. But to say a 40-win team in the East is worse than a 43-win team in the West, that don't really make that don't I don't think that makes sense. At least not for me.
No, yeah, you can't really look at it by record like that. Can't really
Yeah.
judge off record.
Yeah, yeah, man. So, but again, I like to just mess with them because again, that was one of the themes that they were talking about for Boston because we know that there's nothing we can say about Boston other than that they had an easy route, right? Like, there's no other way to hate on them. Like, what can we do to hate? We just say we just fucking hate Boston, right? We just hate it, just fuck Boston.
No, I think Boston had a. I think Boston was. No, I think they was good, but do I think they all time great team like a top 10? No, I don't think they no top 10 team or nothing like that. I think they probably one of the best teams of this era,
Mm-hmm.
like
I mean,
since
they,
2010.
yeah, I mean, since
I think they can
2020,
compete
right?
with the Warriors and the Cavs.
Uh-huh.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
but
think they
since
can compete with the Warriors and the Cavs.
there, yeah. I mean, obviously, that was one of the questions brought up. Could they beat the 2017 Warriors? Which, as good as Boston is, that would actually be a good series because Boston does have some good pieces that would actually make that series well. But I still think nobody beats the 2017 Warriors. No, I just can't picture it. Like you just need a better roster than Jason Tatum, Derek White,
Yeah,
Holiday, and Brown. I don't know if that's gonna beat, Green, Durant, Curry, and Thompson, and then they had a good bench too. It wasn't even like they had some solid dudes that used to come off the bench like David West and Livingston
hmm
and Iguodala and JaVale McGee. Like they had an
yeah.
actual whole roster. Like they were just set for a long time. It's sad that KD left. Cause it's actually good for us because then we got the NBA we got today. So any last words, Drew? Because I got Mac Def in the background. I want to bring up Mac Def. Thanks for staying patient, Mac Def. You
No,
got
go
anything you
ahead.
want to say, bro?
No, go ahead. Thanks for the time, man.
Man, I
I,
appreciate you, man. Thanks for showing up, man. To become a member and a subscriber to the channel. If you're not already a subscriber, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. We got Mr. Malachi in the comments. His punk behind. He don't never want to step up to the plate. I tell you what, Mr. Malachi, the link is gonna be available to you right here. Let me get Mac Def up in here. What up, Mac Def? How you doing, brother?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
What's good, man? So I know you a Curry guy, But you don't know. You don't have a team. Are you a Warriors guy, or is that your team?
Nah, Chicago Bulls.
So it's fuck Boston, right?
Nah,
No.
nah, I don't hate no team.
You don't
I don't
hate
hate them.
Boston too. You gotta hate
Nah,
Boston, man.
I don't have no hate. I don't have no hate towards them. I don't think they're a all time. I would probably say you have to put them as far as regular season. You got to acknowledge what they did this regular season and put some type of respect on it. They're what top five in point
Mm-hmm.
differential, beating opponents. So and only all time great teams are on that list. So I put some respect on them a little bit, but all time like top 10, no. I think that's because for the most part, Porzingis was hurt. I think they could have did a lot more damage if Porzingis was healthy throughout the playoffs. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they might only lose one game. We might be having a different conversation. So I think a healthy Boston Celtics team next year, along with a healthy Eastern Conference team, Eastern Conference as a whole next year, we'll see what it is to judge them. But nah, not right now.
Not right now. Yeah, I mean, again,
Yeah, I can't give them that right now.
they are, like I said, they are one of the better teams that we've seen in NBA history. I know a lot of people do not like to like people just don't like to say that, but in reality they are, bro. Like I found this actual graph. Um, I found this graph earlier today, and let me share it up with y'all here. Let me get this up here for you while I got you here, Matt. Give me a sec here. So this graph right here shows like all the dominant teams in playoff history. So if we look, obviously the 2017 Warriors were the top, right? They had a plus 13.5.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They had a winning percentage of 94.1. These are the best teams with the best winning percentages in NBA history. So if you look at the eras, you see, you got the 2017 Warriors, the 2001 Lakers, then we got the 83 Sixers, the 91 Bulls, the 89 Pistons, 99 Spurs. Then Boston comes right there. You see the 2024 Boston's right after all these other teams. And then you have,
Hmm.
so all these teams are legendary teams. So for Boston to be up there, especially in today's NBA, right? Like, because I keep telling people, man, there's just so much talent in today's NBA. There's so many good teams. Anybody could have really won it this year, but Boston just pulled it out. And obviously they just really did have the better team. It's sad to say that, but as soon
Yeah,
as they
but
got Drew
who?
Holiday, bro, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it as soon as they got Drew Holiday.
Fact. But who in this era has done it like at an all time level than Boston? That I think that's the key thing to look at, especially looking at your graph. But to me, for me, I don't give them that much respect as top 10 because all those other teams that are listed, they played in a great era where you can name two or three other all time great teams that they actually, had to go through and beat. You know what I'm saying? The
Mm-hmm.
'01 Lakers, they beat the Spurs, they beat the Sacramento Kings, the Blazers of that era, 2000s era. You know what I'm saying? So I just think there's a lot of other great errors where these teams had to you know make their way through. So I don't see 24 Boston up there, but they did some historical great. So you got to put some respect on that.
How much do we attach 2024 Boston to 2022 Boston's team? Can we say it's still the same thing because of they still had kind of the same core?
To me I do. The only difference is that they were better this year offensively than they were in 2022, and that's only because Brown and Tatum matured into their roles and who they are as players, and the three ball they shoot the three much better. But to me, the 22 and 24, there's not a significant difference. I think both teams are still good. The difference between 24 is they just did it at a historical level offensively. You see what I'm saying? But the
Yeah.
22 Celtics defense, I mean, if they would have pulled it off versus the Warriors, we would look at them as probably one of the greatest defensive teams of all time, especially who they had to go through that that
You're
whole
right
round. They
about
beat
that.
Katie and Kyrie. They beat Giannis. Then took down Jimmy Butler. And if they would have took down Steph Curry, I mean, they were the number one defense that year. So it could
Yeah, you're
they
right.
script could have been written differently.
Yeah, they were the best defense in basketball in 2022, and they were predicated around their defense, and that's correct. Now they're more predicated around their offense, and both instances they were dominant. But in 2022 they were dominant defensively, but the Warriors were able to still win. But this year they really were great offensively, like you said. They did mature. They just had a better team. Like I told people, man, they were gonna play better, Brown and Tatum, once they got themselves a true point guard and someone like a Drew Holiday. It was gonna just be easy for them to find their shots and get to their. They were just gonna have easier. It was just gonna be easier for them to do what they do, which is gonna bode well for them. And they were just gonna. I wish Jimmy didn't get hurt, man. Fuck Boston.
Yeah. I think if everybody in the East was healthy, we would put some more respect on their name, because if everybody in the East is healthy, and if they get Porzingis back and we seen what he did, I think Boston still does the exact same thing. But we just don't know that, and I think that's sort of the thing that we're looking at, the fork in the road that we're looking at. Like, it was an easy road.
They still beat the Mavericks, and there's still no king, no ring for all you Kyrie, Zesty, Jeffrey fans.
I don't know. Well, that's my take on Boston, man. I didn't want to spend too much time. I'm gonna catch you Sunday. You got a special show Sunday, right?
Oh yes. We're doing our research. We're letting the Jordan fans simmer down a little bit and let them come up with all their little damage control excuses. Because when we start dropping the facts about what was going on in the '80s, y'all gonna be hurt. Because most of them don't even read. They didn't even read the article. A lot didn't even take the time to sit there and read what that man did. And that man did his job. Trust me when I tell you that man did his job. We're going to break it down. So Sunday's show will be about Michael Jordan. Like we tell you, we don't shy from it here in GOAT James Kingdom. Our last few shows has been about LeBron James. We really haven't been talking Mike. But this one is going to be all Michael Jordan. The MJ delegates going to have a handful this Sunday, y'all. So make sure y'all catch us Sunday noon Eastern right here on GOAT James Kingdom, bro. I see you then, bro. Y'all make sure to follow Mac Def and catch him on other platforms as he goes around talking the game like none other. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, be easy.
All right, be easy, bro. So let me bring up my boy Twin Man in the building. Shout out to Twin Man. What's good,
up,
bro?
At first, I wasn't going to even come up here, but I'm so tired of hearing this. Oh, they went through an East that was hurt. I believe the Boston Celtics was hurt as well, right?
They were. Yes, they were.
And the last time I checked, you play who's in front of you, right?
That's right. You do. You play the best.
Any other time, that's what we hear all the time from the Zesty Jeffries when we tell them that Jordan didn't have any competition to go through. You play who's in front of you. Now all of a sudden, the East was hurt. Teams was hurt. I don't give a shit about any of that. Boston won. They played who was in front of them and won. Stop hating. Y'all just wanted Kyrie to win so y'all could talk shit. And like you said, no king, no ring. They played who was in front of them, period. Their team wasn't even healthy, and they still dominated. Y'all just hating, period. You mad because proof is already coming out about them stat padding for your Lord and Savior. That's why y'all upset. I mean, you should see some of the replies that I got. You should see some of the replies that I've gotten in your comment section, because I'm sitting here saying, you already know they about to just label this dude a hater. I got people telling me already, oh, well, that means they did it for LeBron. Where's your evidence? There's evidence that they did this for Jordan, but there's no evidence that they did this for LeBron. Your Zesty Jeffries is mad. The zestiness is dripping off of you, you zesty booty juice booties you. That's all y'all. All y'all are some zesty booty juice drinking, Zesty Jeffries. Put all their asses in the dugout. I'm tired of them. I hate their face and they mama steak. They get on my nerves.
Tell Mom I'm on official police business. Special Officer Dookie reporting. Mom says when I wear this badge, you're supposed to treat me like a man of the law. Hey, no talking to the witness.
Bruh, they're going to be so upset Sunday when we show what this man found out and how this man actually did it. Because they always got to question you. This
is not even... This isn't even new, Ajani. They've been talking about this forever. And they did every time this discussion came up of them stat padding in the 80s, for them stat padding in the 80s for Jordan, people
Mm-hmm.
always dismissed it outright. You're just a hater. You can't, this is all lies. Now that somebody's actually sat down and did the research, they are really going to be mad.
And mind you, again, we're going to talk about it on Sunday. I'll just leave it here with this. Listen, the man actually stated why he started doing this and finding out stuff about this was because of what they did to Jared Jackson. And what they've been doing and saying about how some of these players from this era have been having their stats padded by home stat keepers, but when they go back and look at the film, they don't find it. They didn't find it. All that stuff about what was going on Reddit about J.J. Jackson and how he won Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago, it doesn't exist. They have the film. Film is available for every NBA game in the last 10, 20 years. Is this not available for stuff in the 80s? And he even explained how tough it was for him to get the 80s film. And we're going to talk about that again on Sunday. So, again, you made some great points. You got people going crazy in the comments as usual.
Like I do.
Listen, man, these Zesty Jeffries is something else. Let me bring up New World as well, because New World is still in the background. They
super mad. What did I sit here and say that's a lie about Boston? They played who was in front of them, right?
Yeah, that's facts, man. That's all you could do. Just play who's in front of you.
Why are we sitting here trying to diminish their championship? They played who's in front of them. For all the Steph Curry fans, when Steph Curry went through the Western Conference and every starting point guard was hurt and they won a championship, they didn't say this about Steph. They just said he won, right? So why are we trying to diminish Boston? The real talk, Boston has been great for the last 5-6 years. They were always a couple of pieces away. They were literally always a couple of pieces away from a championship. That's just real talk. What you said about them actually needing a point guard is actual facts, bro. Marcus Smart just isn't that. He's going to give you great defense, but he's really not going to give you anything on offense. You need somebody that can do both at that position. And Al Horford was getting a little too old. You needed another big man in there. So they got the two pieces they needed, but why are we acting like Boston wasn't always, the last 5 years, Boston hasn't been great? They were just a couple of pieces away. I'm not shocked they won a championship.
And all of this is because of Jimmy Butler. They are so obsessed with us that they even came down here and try to rub it in our faces by trying to celebrate down here. And you know what? This is the one thing we hate about Miami, bro. We shouldn't let those motherfuckers down here. If you're a business owner, no, I don't give a fuck how much money the motherfuckers was coming down here and spending. You should have told those motherfuckers, fuck you. You can't come down here. You can't celebrate that piece of shit championship.
You already know that.
You know them boys in Miami not finna turn down that NBA money. They're not finna do that.
Oh my God, they made some real paper during that little celebration. Them dudes said they came here hours after the game, not like so they basically did the little celebration, the little presentation, pour champagne all over the place, took a quick shower, and caught a flight straight to Miami. Them motherfuckers are them motherfuckers.
They was trying to get some Miami hoes.
Yeah, they was.
Yo, let's be real, Johnny.
We got the best. We got the best. We got the best.
I ain't been out there in a minute, but y'all for sure do.
This is the era of petty, and NBA rivalries are with social media and these players podcasting and going on podcasts. It's extra petty now, bro. Like they talk shit year round.
Yeah,
so
that's what they're addicted to it. NBA. They're addicted to the toxic talk. They're addicted to it. That's why now they can't just sit back and look at it, because remember, a lot of these guys they don't have a team. They don't have to be a fan. Like me, I'm a Heat fan. So when you was like, stop hating on Boston, I had to look at you weird. Like, nah, I'm a Heat fan. I'm supposed to hate Boston. Like that's a part of being a Heat fan. But those dudes are not. Well, I despise the Knicks. Hate's not even the word. You got to put extra syllables for the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I can't stand the Knicks, bro. I can't stand the New York Knicks, bro.
Nah, Boston and Miami Heat have an ill-fated relationship. That's for sure. I think you guys only had 2 postseason wins.
Yeah, New York's never been our comp since the 90s.
Man.
Nah, New York has never really been. I mean, I guess in the 90s you could say New York was a better team because, like Miami was an expansion in the 90s. So that when they had Alonzo Mourning, and who else did they have on that team? They
Not
had a
really.
couple
It wasn't
guys on
really
that
those.
team.
Lonzo Mourning,
Um,
Jamal Mashburn, Marbury,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm
PJ
starting to remember.
Brown. Yeah, PJ Brown of Rashard Leonard.
Yeah,
Um,
they had some guys, but they just weren't going to go anywhere with Jordan in the same conference, so it just wasn't
the,
happening.
that weak ass East Conference in 1997. I wish I would have put that graph up. And like I said, 1997, I think it was Boston, a few other teams. There was the Vancouver Grizzlies. It's a bunch of teams that really couldn't get to 20 wins that year. Although there was like I think like 4 or 5 teams that won 60 games that year.
Yeah, that's
Jordan
terrible.
fans love to bring up that year. They love to bring up that year, but forget that the Chicago Bulls that year were 67 and like 15. Like they had one of the best records in NBA history, if I'm correct. And let me bring up that graph in 19, because the Bulls were the only team to win 65 games plus in the 90s. No one other team could do it. Yeah, they won. They won in 97. They won 69 games in 97. So they were damn near one win away from 70 wins. That's how good the Bulls were compared to the rest of the conference. They still won 8 or 9 games more than the next best team in the East that year.
Cooking.
Yeah, they again, we bring up facts, we bring up numbers. That's what y'all don't do. Y'all make up shit. Y'all don't go look nothing up. Y'all just make it up. Just make it up. Fuck it. Why go look it up
Also,
when
I
I
have
can
to
just
ask
make
the
it up?
question, Johnny.
Uh-huh.
Who are these 5 or 6 teams that were championship contenders in the 80s, bro?
Who said that?
One of the people came up here and said, yeah, there was like 5 or 6 contenders in the East that were championship contenders. And I'm like, what?
And that must have been when Drew stepped up. I didn't hear that part. My bad. I know he said that the East
He
was tough.
definitely said that.
I was gonna go in on him about it, but we were having a good conversation. I didn't really feel like going through it with him. But no, I mean there really wasn't. It was the 76ers to start off the decade. Really nobody else, and Boston. Those are the only 2 teams. Then eventually,
Right, and then Detroit came along.
And then eventually Detroit came along, but Detroit came along late, and the only reason they came along was because Michael Jordan couldn't get past them.
Right.
So if Michael Jordan would have beat them, it would have been the Bulls. And there would have been no Detroit Pistons if Michael Jordan did what he was supposed to do. It
still wouldn't have been the Bulls because they couldn't get past Boston.
So
that's what I'm saying. Why do people
it would have
make
been
it seem like
17 it would have been 17 straight or 18 straight versus Boston? What you trying to say? It would have been 3.
That's what I'm saying. But why do people make it seem like the 80s East was just this juggernaut or the 90s East was just this juggernaut? Who is these 5 or 6 teams in the 90s that were contenders? I'm a Knicks fan. We had one great year. You see what I'm saying? We had one great year in the 90s. I mean, we always had a decent team, but we had one great year in the 90s. Let's keep this a buck.
All right, so how many teams made the finals in the East in the 90s? We have Detroit, Chicago, Orlando, New York.
New York.
So that's 4 teams? Detroit,
Yes.
Chicago, Orlando, New York. So only 4 teams in the East made the conference, won their conference in the 90s. I wouldn't consider that tough at all. I know some people say, well, that's because Michael Jordan dominated. But that means it's not tough.
Exactly.
If one team can dominate, it's not tough. You have to have multiple teams.
One team can run the conference for 6 years. Where's the competition?
And almost make it a 7th year.
What the East was this year was competition. Mm-hmm. That was competition. Even though Boston, I'm going to be real, head and shoulders the best team in the NBA. Look at the teams in the East. They was balling this year.
Yeah, I don't know how you could just look at these teams that lost and just be like they were trash teams, or like try to even push the narrative that, these players aren't good. Like, I don't understand how you could do that. Like, this is clearly just the best team in the NBA, like you were saying.
Right.
There's nobody could beat them. Like, they were gassing up Luka and Kyrie before the play or before the final started, and I'm sitting here just, obviously I hate Boston, so I'm gonna root for them. But I'm just sitting here just like, bro, like, as a logical basketball fan, I know that they're gonna have their shit cut out for them. Like, they're most likely not gonna win the series, and I just didn't expect them niggas to lose the way that they did. I thought Kyrie would play better. Like, I still thought they was gonna lose, but I thought Kyrie was gonna play better.
New World. Let's keep this above. When we did the predictions that Sunday before the NBA finals started, I literally came up here and I said Boston in 5. Even with what did I say? I said Porzingis is gonna be the X factor. They're gonna put that defense on them, and Jaylen Brown's gonna be Finals MVP. I literally said this because if you're looking at the teams, you have 3 or 4 of the best individual defenders for the perimeter all on the same team. Dallas had nobody that could guard Porzingis. So what are they really going to do?
No, you're right. It was the defense. Really, it wasn't so much of the scoring. It was the defense.
Go get Bam.
I'm not going to pretend like pretend like Boston didn't have good offense. But let's be real. You have Drew Holiday, Tatum, Brown, White, and now you picked up Porzingis. So you have 5 great defenders in your starting 5.
And all of them can score too. They're not like a Vanderbilt or a Reddish type where they're good defenders but they can't score. Like all those guys you name can score.
Exactly. So then you look at Dallas. You have Luka. Yes, he led the league in the NBA, but he couldn't stop a cold. Kyrie's not really a defensive juggernaut. What are you really gonna? That's why I said when people were picking Dallas, I was like, what the fuck are they looking at? Do they really think Dallas is just gonna come out there and Boston's just gonna let Luka go off for 40?
Hey, hold on, wait. What was a worse defensive duo backcourt, Reeves and D'Lo, or Kyrie Irving and Luka?
Oh man. At least I saw Reeves like giving himself like 100% on the defensive end. Even though he's trash, like I at least saw him like trying to work on Murray. Like the best Lemon Daddy could do, he did. But when you see Luka and aside from like that one game where he played like exceptional, the game that they won, game 4, where he played good defense. Aside from that game, bro, trash. I've never seen a superstar play that trash. Well, I saw Jokic actually do that, but that nigga lost by 45
points. It's still Reeves and D'Lo. I'm going to tell you why it's still Reeves and D'Lo. Because at least Dallas had a way to kind of hide Luka. You couldn't hide Reeves and D'Lo, bro. They would just go at them all game. At least Dallas had a way to at least try to hide.
Okay. You see, see, Twin Man. See what you're talking, Twin Man? I'm glad that you said that. And you know why they can hide certain players? Because your big man has to be willing to step up and play the perimeter defense, like a Lively, like a Gobert, like a Bam Adebayo. Anthony Davis ain't doing that shit. Davis is not doing that shit. So now you have complete liability. That's why I tell people that Bam Adebayo is a way better defender than Anthony Davis, because as far as a team scheme, you can do a lot more with Bam than you could do with Anthony Davis. If all Anthony Davis can do is roam the basket and protect the rim, that is not going to be good enough in today's NBA. So hold on.
Hold on. This is not because I can't 100% disagree with what you're saying, but he has to roam because that's how bad Reeves and D'Lo's defense are.
No, I got it. He's elite at that. He's an elite shot blocker.
He gotta kind of play center field. He gotta play like that D-back. That D-back.
He gotta play the perimeter.
He has to get blown by every time, bro.
He has to play the perimeter, especially when he be crying he don't want to be a center. You have to be able to get out there and do those switches. Because all they're going to do is just shoot over you. And now all they're going to do is just keep putting Reeves and Low on these mismatches, and you're going to get exposed every time. That's the whole point. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the Miami Heat do a great job. I tell people that we do a great job hiding our players because we have a Bam. We have someone like Bam who can rotate from the weak side of the block to the strong side instantaneously and completely fuck up everything. Whether he has to go out and contest a wing shot from playing the bottom block on the weak side. Like, he's just that good of a defender, and he's smart. So it's like those
He's also quicker than AD.
Huh? Johnny, you know
Bam is quicker than AD.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's more athletic. Way athletic. Go ahead, Twin Man.
It's going to be crazy when I say this, but if the Lakers was healthy and it was the Lakers in Boston in the finals, I'd have picked the Lakers.
I mean, having Jared Vanderbilt, like, I think people really underestimate how valuable he is to the Lakers. Like Like him being injured just really derailed their whole season. Because like you saw what they looked like in the in-season tournament. Like
Hold on, guys.
they looked
Let me
like the best team in the NBA when they had their fully healthy roster, and that was when their offense wasn't like as good as what it was towards the end of the season. Like their offense was actually a step back from what it was when we got towards the playoffs, but they were still looking like the best team in the league, and they still finished the season with the best record against 500 teams. They just couldn't beat Denver.
Right.
No, they couldn't.
They
beat Denver
just
yet.
honestly, it was a bad like Boston and Dallas was a terrible matchup for Dallas. It really was. They didn't have the perimeter defense to stay in front of Tatum and Brown, and then you have freaking Holiday with these backcourt cuts and White's going off. Then you have the bench that's going off. It was just a bad matchup for Dallas.
The whole playoffs
They
were
didn't
full
really
of bad
have
matchups.
any.
The whole playoffs were full of bad
They just
matchups.
didn't. I think healthy. Hear me out. Healthy. You put Vanderbilt on Tatum, maybe Reddish on Brown. Do they stop them? No. Do they disrupt them? Yes. At least they're gonna give you solid defense. But then you're looking for LeBron and AD to give you at least 30 plus a night, which I think they could do.
I don't know about Anthony Davis.
I don't know about AD.
Hold on. Oh yeah, let me address Mr. Capo NYC here. This is why you Zesty Jeffries are safe in the comments. Stop deleting my comments. No one deletes you guys' comments, but YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, because they know you're a troll. All you do is comment. They noticed it. They know how much you comment all day long. You're just commenting. I see you all throughout here commenting. Step up on the mic, my man. Hit the link.
They don't listen.
That
scared,
way,
bro.
Guess what? When you do that, whatever you say is going to be recorded and on the show. I'm not going to delete the show because you came on here and exposed me. I'm going to have to put the show up. I got to get paid. This is what I do best. But you know you can't do that. You're safe in the comments. We do not delete comments. I barely read you motherfuckers' comments. Barely.
Oh, they scared. All these people that ask for the link, bro. Like this dude here, like Liddy, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to hit the link because they can't stand on the bullshit they say. They can't.
This is just retard. And let me tell you something, y'all. Because we're about to get up out of here. You know, guys, this is the 48th episode. And I know I told you guys we about to do the 50th episode, right? So on the 50th episode, y'all know I'm doing my top 50 greatest players of all time. So that's 2 weeks from now. So become a member of the channel because this is the only way you're going to be able to participate and be able to chance to win prizes that we got for you guys. I told y'all I have some posters for you guys. This is one of the posters right here that I got made for you guys here that will be eligible to be able to win this. But you got to become a member of the channel. So once we do the 50th episode, I want to see it, and it's going to be a members only show, so all of y'all ain't going to be able to comment. I'm like, the comment section is going to be beautiful. It's just going to be nothing but the LeBron dudes, the GOAT James Kingdom supporters. But when you guys get a chance, go ahead and sign up to a membership, because you see what I got here? We got posters like this that are going to be available to you guys right here on GOAT James Kingdom. We're going to do big things for you guys. We got 3 separate posters. I keep telling you guys, sign up for the membership. Let's get this going. I want to do special member shows. I don't even want to deal with these dudes anymore because they don't want to talk the game of basketball. They don't want to talk about what we know. They want to talk about how they feel and how we're supposed to understand their feelings and how we're supposed to give some kind of leeway towards their context. I got context. You guys got to add context. Please add context. No, we don't do that shit here in GOAT James Kingdom. We drop facts. Yes, indeed. Shout out to Hip Hop Forever. Yes, again, I got 3 separate posters, bro. You guys are more than welcome to join the GOAT James Kingdom membership. Twin Man, I expect you to be a part of it. It's only $4.99 to be a member of GOAT James Kingdom, guys. You guys spend more money buying a bottle of liquor than doing that. Any one of y'all can do this.
I don't drink liquor.
You're a lawyer. From my understanding, you're a lawyer. You can do $4.99. a month. Go ahead and put that subscribe. I mean, put that membership in. You go straight to our channel on your desktop. You hit the join tab. You'll see the 3 different tiers that you can join. Just join the Knights of GJK for $4.99, and you'll have eligibility to join me because we are going to do a special contest where we're going to do the top 50 greatest players of all time. Now, all you have to do with this contest is select the top 10 players. If you get them in order, the guys who get them in the most order, obviously the top 10, 3 winners will get to select, and obviously first place chooses the whatever poster they want, and second place, third place, so on and so forth. But that's in 2 weeks, y'all. That's going to be a special Friday night exposure. It's only going to be for members. The comments are only going to be for members. The whole show is going to be a members only show. So please go ahead and join the GOAT James Kingdom membership. It doesn't cost nothing but $4.99, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we do here in GOAT James Kingdom. Again, we keep telling y'all, we are real content creators. We're not just a bunch of dudes sitting around at home doing nothing. We take our time to do to bring up the information, to create the graphs, to do all this stuff. Like I said, the posters, all of this stuff is going to be for you guys. So please join us. So let me get you guys' last words before we get up out of here. Let's start with you, New World, because you came first, and I'll let Twin Man finish up. You got anything for me, brother, before we get up out of here?
We about to be getting this membership in a couple days. Nigga gotta pay for kids and shit. But yeah, man, it was always great to be on the show. I really can't wait for Sunday because we finna go off, man. That's gonna be a good show. I hope y'all keep it up for a good minute so we could be cooking on these JDRs because they are sick right now. I'm just gonna tell you, I got Jordan fans in my family right now. Oh man, it's been so nice. It's been so nice trolling. It's been so nice trolling. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's going to be great. Again, it's going to be great. Sunday show will be about all the Zesty Jeffrey problems this week, starting off with the fact that when I told you guys when we started off that there was going to be no king, no ring, because y'all was trying to get Kyrie Irving a title and some legacy. He doesn't have it. He lost. Now it's no Pip, no chip. Right, and then Stephen A. Smith came out and said that making the finals is more is better than winning more. Right, then Jeff Van Gundy came out and said that LeBron has the greatest career of all time, and then Tom Haberstroh came out with an article explaining how the 1988 Defensive Player of the Year season for Michael Jordan had inflated stats and blocks and steals, which is the only way to determine how somebody's going to be Defensive Player of the Year, because they didn't have the defensive metrics like box plus minus and defensive win shares and defensive ratings. None of this shit existed in the 80s. So Michael Jordan's 200-100 season is actually under question, and we're going to break it down on why Jordan actually didn't even have a 200-100 season. That's going to be this Sunday show. So y'all make y'all make sure to join us this Sunday, noon Eastern time. So Twin Man, any last words, brother?
I cannot wait for Sunday, bro. When I tell you I'm popping some popcorn, I'm gonna get me a wine cooler, and I'm going to bring plenty of Kleenex for all the JDR tears that are going to come do that stream. I cannot wait. I'm so damn tired. That's the best regular season ever. 1988. Fuck that season. Everybody knew he was a cheater. I'm tired of that bald-headed, gambling, liquor smoking, cheating ass, quitting twice ass motherfucker. I can't wait for y'all to cook him. Do it. You can't wait.
Me. I'm sitting back. I'm collecting the evidence. I'm sitting back, listening, paying attention, reading all the little nonsense that all these Zesty Jeffries are saying. Trying to, I'm on TikTok lives, listening. I'm on YouTube listening. I'm out of Facebook jail, so now I can go fuck with other groups. I'm just not posting. I'm just gonna sit there and snoop around like I do my best. And I can't wait for Sunday because I already know they have nothing. They have nothing but watch us. That's all they're gonna do. Just watch us. So I thank you two gentlemen, man. Y'all boys have a good Friday evening, man. Stay safe.
Salute to you,
and
man.
I'll see y'all Sunday, man. Appreciate you, New World. Appreciate you.
I'm going to sleep on Saturday. I'm going to sleep on Saturday with the biggest smile on my face, man. I can't wait for Sunday. I can't wait. I'll holler at you, bro.
I hope I wake up Sunday to you being a GOAT James Kingdom member. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, brother. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great Friday night exposure with the Exposer. Y'all know what I do best, man. I talk about basketball like none other here on the Friday night exposure. We had a great show where we were talking about which conferences were the best or not, and how Boston was able to win a championship no matter what the circumstances are. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. You guys got to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member of the channel. As you guys know, when you become a member of the channel, there are several perks that are available to you. So go ahead and check out all the perks when you become a member. Hit us at goatjameskingdomshow@gmail.com or goatjameskingdom@gmail.com. You guys sign up for the membership to be able to participate in the Friday night exposure 50th episode, which is 2 weeks from now. And you'll have an opportunity to win such posters, like I said, like this, where you'll be able to go ahead and tell me what my top 10 is. Now, just to let you guys know, this is my top 30 list. This is the most updated list that I have. So go ahead and study these players, because the criteria that I'm using is going to be similar, but it will definitely grade these players separately, because I did add some things that are going to change a lot about my top 50 greatest players of all time. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the GOAT James Kingdom platform. You guys know to come join us Sunday noon Eastern time as we talk about the GOAT conversation and the greatest players to play the game. And we tackle the GOAT debate head on. This Sunday's show will be about Michael Jordan's 1988 Defensive Player of the Year stats, whether they were inflated or not. So ladies and gentlemen, you guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that ring notification as well, so that when we go live, you'll know exactly when GOAT James Kingdom is going live. Well, you don't really have to do too much, because we'll be live noon Eastern right here on the GOAT James Kingdom platform. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Friday night exposure with the Exposer. You guys enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon, and I'll see you guys very shortly. See you Sunday. If you're a basketball fan and you're tired of basketball shows that talk about fake narratives and using non-basketball terms like killer instinct, playoff translation, gravity, come to GOAT James Kingdom.